You just got wrecked.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. So today is Thursday. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great week, one step closer to the weekend. Now, having a look at what's going on with Bitcoin currently, we are down 1.14%. Now, this could be very different by the time you watch this video, and the reason is because Bitcoin is actually sitting at an extremely critical level right now. You could see this morning we dipped down to around that $9,149. We have kind of sort of bounced off it, but very weakly. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because this morning, and you can see this pink line right here, is the 200 daily moving average. Now, when I woke up, we were actually sitting below it, trying to push lower. This was definitely a bit of a bearish sign, right? Now, we have currently gone back above it, but not by much, and we don't have much time until we complete this apex, looking for the big breakout or breakdown. The weekend is coming, and volume is very low. All of that means that we are going to have, most likely, an incredible move, and which way is it going to be? Well, currently, this chart is not really looking that healthy. Not to say that we can't have a, major blast off, but I do want to be realistic, and that is what we are going to talk about today. Also, I do want to talk about the fact that I do believe that Bitcoin will hit $55,000 by the end of next year, and I'm going to show you why. Currently, we may have some, choppy, rough waters to go, but I'm going to show you that in just a second. And also, the fact that the Federal Reserve recently just hired or is looking to hire positions in order to do research into cryptocurrencies and stablecoins. So if you can't beat them, join them. Well, if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. Also, if you are not subscribed to the Crypto Zombie channel, we do this every single day. And yeah, we give away a ledger every single Monday. All you got to do is drop a comment on literally any video throughout the course of the week, and you are eligible. Now, today's video is going to be a little bit rapid fire. I do have some stuff to do, so stick with me. We're going to get straight to the point and then get on out of here. So currently, you are noticing Bitcoin dominance has pulled down about 0.1%. Really nothing that I would be too concerned about. Now, you do have some altcoins up today. DX token is up 31%. Tezos, they had some good news that came out. 26%. Ren, Decred, V Systems, Crypto.com, Maker, Ethereum Class X Synthetics. And if you go lower, you notice really after that, it's not that big of gains. You're looking at maybe 1-2%. All right. And then obviously the rest are in the red for the most part. So having a look right here, you are noticing we have very low volume. Okay. We are under $250 million, which is very, very low. And we are heading into the weekend, which we do know volume tends to drop even lower. However, what a time for the volume to drop when we're getting close to the end of the apex. All volatility is gone and Bitcoin is looking for a breakout or breakdown, right? So that's why we need to keep our eyes on it. Now, currently right now, the overall sentiment of the market is a little bit towards the bearish side, okay? Shorts are around 53% with the longs around 47, okay? Now, having a look right here, you could see this is exactly what I'm talking about. We've been dancing right around this all day. You can see we are currently sitting right on the line for the 200 daily moving average. And if we do keep trying to push below this, especially if we have a daily candle close below this line, well, then that would actually put Bitcoin into some potentially short-term bearish territory. Now, you can look right here. We are looking to hopefully be supported by the 21 exponential over on the weekly. That's sitting at around $9,000. But the question is, if we were to take that fall, would it actually be able to support us? You can see right here, we do have the actual trend itself supporting us at around $9,113. Okay? But if we do fall below that, my next level of support is actually around the $8,824 level, because don't forget, when we were trying to break above, originally, 8,800 was the resistance, right? And there was some around 8.5 as well, but I was looking at 8.8. So that's why I think that that would be the support if we do fall below this level. Not to say we're going to, but I mean, we're literally flipping back and forth between the line right now as we speak. Actually, interestingly enough, this morning, you could see on the very low time frame, 30-minute, you had Market Cipher putting in 2 green dots, which signals a, opportunity to long, but also it was accompanied with 2 of these yellow X's, which does mean manipulation. So obviously right now, it's kind of a tricky time to be trading, right? So if we come over here and have a look, essentially this is what we're looking at. So we have sort of this bottom right here, which was the support, flip resistance, okay? And then we have the actual resistance of this current bull flag pennant, whatever you want to call it, right? Now you can see the 200 daily is closing in, and it wants to sort of come to the apex right here around November 12th, okay? So that's only a few more days for Bitcoin to travel within this region. Now we do know that Bitcoin is a very impatient asset. It usually doesn't get to the very end. It usually tries to break out around 65, 75, percent, which is basically where we're at right now. I'd say we're about 3/4 of the way through this, which is why you could be looking for a very big move this weekend or early next week. But don't forget, October 25th, when we had this crazy pump right here, that was also on a Friday as well. So Fridays can also get pretty crazy, CME gaps, right? They close. So that is why I'm saying right here, this is very crucial. If we do fall below this level, I would hope to get supported around this sort of 8,000, 8.8K level. However, if we do sort of breach below that, we do have some kind of mild support again around the 8.7. But then after that, we would go revisit the 8.5K level, okay? So I just want to kind of give you guys sort of a broad spectrum of like possibilities right now, because if we do continue to try to push down, we are going to fall below this. And yeah, so you definitely don't want to fall below the 200 daily moving average. I don't know if we're going to or not. I'm watching this just along with you guys, but that is what I'm looking at short term. So obviously, if you are looking to trade that, you could try to catch the long maybe right before 8.8. You put it at like 8.95 or something like that. You might have a small, loss as it wicks down. But like I said, guys, please do not be going heavy on the leverage. We've seen 10% getting liquidated left and right. If you are a beginner, 3 to 5x, and definitely no higher than 10, even if you're a professional. Not financial advice, that's just my opinion. I just want you guys to be safe out there, but that is the situation. If you are interested in how to do that, obviously you guys know I do have a tutorial, and I do have links below as well, but who is this crazy person predicting a $55,000 Bitcoin next year? Well, I actually had an opportunity to talk to the guys over at Crypto Potato. Really cool article. They asked me a lot of questions. It wasn't just crypto. I talked about, what I like to do on my free time. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll drop that below. But essentially, they were asking me what I thought about the Bitcoin price. And I did say, I believe Bitcoin could hit around $55,000, roughly a 1 trillion market cap by today's supply. It's not as crazy as people think. Now, why did I come up with this number? Did I just pull it out of No, I didn't. I have a reason for this. And let me just show you why I think $55,000 is actually not a crazy prediction for next year. Now, let me just show you really quick, okay? Now, you can see going back over here to the overall market cap of everything, Coinbase recorded that we had an $827 billion market cap at the all-time high, right? Now, actually, I had seen it recorded even higher. That's why I said around 880. Doesn't really matter. We can go with 820. We can go with 880, whatever. Any of those numbers will work. But essentially, you could see that when we did have that high right here on December 17th, the Bitcoin dominance was only at 54.51%, which means that we were able to hit over an $800 billion market cap, but it was actually distributed, roughly half to Bitcoin and half to the altcoins, right? Well, currently, looking at the Bitcoin dominance today, 67% according to CoinMarketCap, but we're actually closer to 70% if you look at TradingView. So what am I trying to say here? Well, essentially, what I am trying to say is that if we actually have a look at Bitcoin, okay, and we look at how many, we basically look at how many Bitcoin are circulating, right? Which is roughly 18 million, give or take, plus the fact that we had seen an $800+ billion market cap for everything. This tells me that I don't think it's impossible for Bitcoin alone to hit a $1 trillion market cap. I really don't think that that's that crazy, okay? So basically what I did was, if you just do simple math right here, and you just do $1 trillion, okay? And we divide it by 18 million, and I'm just rounding this, by the way, just rounding it, not trying to make any, specific absolute numbers right now, you will see that currently that is a $55,555 Bitcoin, okay? So essentially, and I actually rounded down and said, okay, we'll just stick with 55,000. So essentially that is where I came up with this number. Now, also the other factor that I was looking into why Bitcoin could actually hit 55,000 as well is because of the Bitcoin halving, which is estimated to be happening around May 14th, not an exact day, right? So having a look over here, if you look at all the times that we basically had the halvings, all these purple lines represent those, and this one represents basically the one that's coming up. And this green line would represent the end of the year, which is when we would actually have to hit 55,000 by. Well, if you have a look right here, you notice that we really don't start to get that massive rally in Bitcoin until after the halving. And we never put in a new all-time high until after the halving. However, every single time we do eventually get over and put in a new all-time high every halving. And I just want to show you, hypothetically, if we had a situation that happened right here, okay? So basically, if we go from up here to here, Bitcoin had a essentially 2,204% increase in about 140 days, okay? So just kind of going with those numbers, let's say that we have the halving and Bitcoin, and we'll even round down. Let's say it's able to do a 2,000%, okay, increase from the time of the halving, okay, in that same period of time. Essentially, if you come up here, well, here we go. 2,000 would bring us, yeah, guys, look, so that would bring us way up to about, well, actually, that would bring us up to about $179,000. So I'm clearly lowballing it here by saying 15,000, which would be this blue line. So that's basically where I came up with it. Let me know, do you guys think a $55,000 Bitcoin is possible by the end of next year? I do believe it's possible, but you know, I could be wrong. I'm just a guy on the internet, but let me know what you think about that below. Now, I also want to talk about the fact that we've had David Marcus from Libra basically coming out and saying that Bitcoin is not a currency. Well, okay, I understand you're trying to push Libra as a currency. Well, his reason is that he sees Bitcoin as digital gold. Okay, I'll take that. Because you can hold onto it as an investment, but its volatility means that it's not the best choice for people who need to send remittances across borders. Now, you've always heard a lot of people complaining about the fact like, oh, well, nobody uses Bitcoin, nobody spends Bitcoin, and if we don't start spending Bitcoin, then it'll never be adopted worldwide, and if we just hodl it, well, then what's the point, right? Okay, I hear you out. However, if you are a long-term subscriber to the channel, you already know about Gresham's law. But if you are new, I always have this 30-second video. I love to show basically new people that don't understand why you kind of wouldn't want to spend Bitcoin. And I'm just going to play it for you really quick. It's literally 30 seconds. If you've already seen it, feel free to skip on to the next part of the video.
Let's assume you have two coins, a silver one and one made of less valuable copper. Furthermore, legal tender laws state that they have the same value and merchants are forced to accept both. We'll also assume you're hungry and, coincidentally, a loaf of bread costs exactly 1 coin. Which of the 2 coins will you use to pay the baker? Gresham's law, named after Sir Thomas Gresham, basically tells us that bad money drives out good, or in other words, that of course you'll want to keep the more valuable silver coin and use the copper one. Since other people will do the same, silver coins will eventually no longer circulate because everyone will just hang on to them.
Shout out to 1 Minute Economics for that awesome breakdown, but essentially, basically, it's simple logic, okay? If you have a piece of paper that's worth $5, or let's say like a $100 bill, just to kind of up it a little bit, or you have $100 worth of Bitcoin, and both of those are accepted by whatever retail you're at, right? They'll take $100 worth of Bitcoin, or they'll take the $100 bill. Which one are you more likely to spend? Now, you might want to spend the $100 worth of Bitcoin because it's cool to spend Bitcoin, right? But the reality is that you know that $100 bill is always just going to be a $100 bill. In fact, that $100 bill is going to lose its purchasing power 2 to 3% annually as time goes on, right? Whereas Bitcoin, as we know, has a much better chance of appreciating in value over time due to its deflationary nature. So that would mean you would not want to spend that money. Do you understand? So in a way, it kind of makes sense that people don't want to spend Bitcoin as far as it being, used as a currency, right? But the one thing that was really interesting that Max Kaiser pointed out, he says that Bitcoin is kind of like its own animal, right? It beats out both fiat currency and gold because it doesn't need settlement. This is because in Bitcoin, the transaction and settlement are inseparable from one another. So moving Bitcoin between wallets simply means updating the ledger, which implies instantaneous settlement as miners confirm the transactions. And I know what you're saying. Oh, Bitcoin's not instant. No, it's not confirmed instantly. However, you can see the transaction on the network. I'll give you an example. Make a quick transaction using your Ledger Nano S. Just send $5. Send it to yourself, right? And you'll notice that even though the miners have not actually confirmed it, you could still see it on the network, okay? So Bitcoin technically does show instantaneous, transactions, but you do have to wait for official confirmation, right? So I just want to kind of point that out. Also, he says there's a lot of friction both in paper and in gold. Bitcoin uniquely is self-settling. The transaction is the settlement. When the transaction hits, it is settled. What's going on, Crown? All right. So moving on, we have payments processor company Square. They actually released a letter to their shareholders, and they had some pretty good news. They say that Bitcoin sales via the company's Cash App have reached an all-time high of 148 million, while also recording a 245% growth in first-time buyers from the same time in 2018. You can see first-time Bitcoin buyers have approximately doubled, and cash card orders have seen a meaningful uplift. So the virus is spreading. The virus is spreading. We just simply have to give it time. However, look at this over here. Russia is planning on creating legal statutes allowing the government to achieve the impossible: confiscation of Bitcoin. How is this possible? Well, I'm wondering that myself, but essentially, it says the push does not single out Bitcoin, but instead refers to digital assets in general. Yeah, I'm not really going to go into this article. I don't really know how they're going to do this. I mean, if it's on an exchange, yeah, they could probably get the exchange to turn over the money. But if you own your own private keys, or you have you have your money on a ledger, or I don't understand how they could confiscate it. I mean, what could they do? They could put you in jail. You know what I'm saying? And then talk, and then you tell them the private key. But I mean, they literally can't take your private key. I mean, I don't mean to be Grizzly here, but they could take your life before taking your private keys. They would literally never get your Bitcoin. So not sure how they're looking to do this exactly, but let me know if you guys figure out anything about that. Also, this is the Federal Reserve. Apparently, they are looking for someone for a job for a retail payments manager that will facilitate innovation research around digital currencies, stablecoins, and distributed ledger technologies. So part of the job will include to look at the future of retail payments and how these currencies and stablecoins are quickly becoming a favorite of the banks and how they can utilize them. So like I said, if you can't beat them, join them. Eventually, it's going to all go digital. And so that's basically that. And then one kind of random piece of news. So you guys know there was that sort of, Warren Buffett lunch that got canceled by Tron. Well, essentially now I don't know if this is a rumor or not, but purportedly, the Chinese administration got involved and put extreme pressure on some Tron employees, threatening to detain them in order for Justin Sun to cancel the charity lunch. The source goes even further, adding that lives were at risk, okay? So according to a source of Block TV, the main reason for which China got involved was due to the trade war between the country and the US, which was at its peak during that time. So could be. Maybe Justin Sun just didn't want to say what was happening. So I don't know. I'm sure we'll find out more about that as it develops. And let's have a look at backed volume. How are we doing today? 323, 430. Okay, a lot nicer than how things started off. So that is it for me today, guys. We could have this bounce back. That could have been the bottom. Bitcoin might have just touched because we have touched it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So maybe we're just touching it another time. I just don't like how we've kind of been lingering around it for quite some time. So do keep your eyes on that. Very important that we stay above this 200 daily short term. That's essentially what's going on. Weekend is approaching. You know how that can get. But that is it for me today, guys. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel.